What is up, everybody? DanDanTheFireman here, and we're going to be going over two motorcycle mistakes that happen quite frequently. One of them is extremely preventable. The other one kind of happens with a lot of beginners, so we're going to kind of fix that. So let's go ahead and jump into the first one and figure out what happened.
Forgot his right blinker don't work all the time. Dude, you're supposed to yield. Oh no, look, he wrecked.
Firstly, I'd like to say thank you to Killcliff CBD for sponsoring this video. I've been having a pretty tough week with my dog being sick, so I've been working out quite a bit and running, trying to keep my mind off of things. I've been kind of sore, so I've been actually drinking these, and it's actually helped out with the recovery, helping me sleep, helping me with a few other things. I don't want to get into CBD and what the benefits are really for you. If you already know what CBD is and how it affects you, I absolutely love these drinks, and I actually like Mango Tango. I ran out of them, but this is also a good flavor, Orange Kush. Check them out. Links in the description. You can also get 15% off with Dan15. That's for you guys. So what I like to do with these after action reviews is take the possible factors, take the actual factors of a close call or crash, and utilize that information so that we can practice what was missing or practice more on something that we should have more control over. So when we look at this, I just want to take a quick look. We're going about 45 miles an hour. It looks like this is about a road that goes about 45. We don't know. So speed could be a factor, might not be a factor. It all depends on who the rider is. And that's what we're going to jump into a little bit more, is like, who is this rider that pretty much crashed? Now, if you watch the original video, and you watched earlier, obviously, is that the guy with the camera says, "You're supposed to yield, buddy, you're supposed to yield." So this is one of those things that I just want to point out. As a new rider, you are hyper-focused on how to manipulate the bike. You're trying to figure out how this thing works, so you're kind of looking down. You remember that in class? You look down at your hands for the brakes and the clutch and looking at the speed and the gear shifter and all that stuff. You're looking at that because you're not good with it. It's a lot like trying to walk. You know, you're looking at your feet, looking at the ground, walking, but then you start to get better at it and you're not even looking. You're just kind of walking around and even starting to run. So that's a lot like motorcycle riding. So if you jump too quickly into the street, you're so focused on the bike itself, you're not focused on the situational awareness portion of it. Now, you might be really good with your fundamental skills, but everything kind of gets blown out the window, especially when you're trying something new out on the road. And this right here, I think this is what could have happened. It's a possible factor that this is a brand new rider focused on the skills itself, and they put themselves in a bad situation because they weren't focused on the surroundings. They're focused on how to control the bike. And that could be a huge problem for new riders. And the reason why I say that is that immediately we start to put our foot down. We're not having a good line. We're starting to realize, oh crap, this was a red light and we're supposed to be merging with traffic. Remember, guys, I'm making a huge assumption here, but if this sounds anything like you, pay attention. So we're going to go ahead and go forward a little bit. Not a good line position. Wasn't paying attention. Now he's looking left. Foot is almost down. Not good, not good. So he's still kind of paying attention, and the rider behind is being a little more situationally aware. If you notice that there's a huge difference between the rider up front and the rider in the back, and the rider in the back is looking, understood, hey, you're supposed to be paying attention. He's not looking down, probably not putting a foot down, looking left, going to look right, look left again, look in front of him. This is what more of an experienced rider is and more of what a mentor is. Now, as a mentor, you need to be really focused on the rider in front. I highly suggest a Bluetooth system to talk to that person. That way you can explain to them. Go ahead and be in front, be in back. It all depends on where you're at. So in a situation like this, I would be in front. Let's say if my wife was riding with me, I'd be in front and I'd show, especially if she's a little rusty, where to go and what line to pick. And then I'll let her do the next one. And then I'll let her do the couple. And then I'll get in front and I'll start explaining things while I'm riding with her. So we're going to be moving forward a little bit right here. And here comes the panic. It's like, well, I'm already here. I'm on the shoulder. What do? I need to get in the line. I need to get here. I need to get here. And this is where, when they jump from focusing on traffic and surroundings, now our attention and focus isn't on the controlling of the bike anymore. So we start having really bad inputs because we're trying to use as much brain power for the situation around us. So right here, he's going to go ahead and be like, okay, I'm ready. He released the brakes. He's going to accelerate really hard on a shoulder. Now, on a shoulder, you're going to have some issues with gravel, with any type of debris. It's not necessarily swept up like it would be in a lane with cars kicking up the stuff and pushing it to the side. That's where a lot of stuff happens. I'm wondering why that's a question mark right there. It's a little weird. Anyways, this is what is called a fishtail. It's pretty much going to turn into a low side, high side. You know, it really depends. It's basically a loss of traction. So why did it lose traction? Too much acceleration into a turn, trying to get back in the line. Lack of fundamental skills. It's a beginner mistake. I'm so glad that he's not hurt. So it turns into a lie side. He's going to roll. But here's the scary thing is that car right there. Imagine if they weren't paying attention either. Imagine if they weren't situationally aware. So thankfully, some car drivers are paying attention. They are making sure that we're not going to get hit. Overall, not a good situation. So how did it happen? How did it happen? Well, my assumption is going to be a lack of skill and maybe moving to the road a little too quickly. This is where we need to have so much practice under our belt in a parking lot that we're not looking down at our hands for shifting. We're not looking at the speedometer. We're not looking at how much throttle we're doing. We're not looking at the ground, or we're not, this way we're utilizing more brain power for situational awareness. So we want to practice so our body naturally will do what we want it to do on the bike. That way we can use all our cognitive bandwidth, all the room, all the thought power on searching and scanning and paying attention. That's why we can't jump into the road that quickly. So whenever I get somebody saying, hey, I just took my class last week, I'm going to go for a nice long, cross-state ride, and I've never ridden before, what are some good tips? And I'm going to tell you guys, don't do it. Give yourself some more practice, especially in town if you're going to be going cross town. So I'll be talking a little bit more about that with the Ride Along with DanDanTheFireman. And if you like that kind of stuff, make sure you click that subscribe button. It should be popping up here on screen where I'm riding around and I'm showcasing what is going on, what it is that I'm seeing, and I'm speaking as fast as possible because it's very hard to speak as fast as your brain is moving, especially when we're out riding. So if that's the case, maybe you shouldn't ride if you're brand new. And if that's the case, maybe you shouldn't go across the state if you're brand new, especially if I can't even keep up with what the brain power is supposed to be. Anyways, let's jump into the next one. This one's pretty simple, so we're not going to spend too much time. So just like I mentioned, as a newer rider, not being able to scan things very well because you're focused on your bike itself, it could also play a big role on the reverse where you're focused on something that you're not supposed to be focused on and you're not paying attention to what you're supposed to be doing. And I think that's a lot of what happened here. So we're in this situation, we're waiting for this light, and this guy's taking forever. He's got four wheels, it's not like a motorcycle. Anyways, we're gonna be moving forward here, and we have a vehicle to our left. So when we situate ourselves to everything, we need to be very careful when it comes to any vehicles to the side of us, especially when it's gonna be like a left turn or right turn with two vehicles going that way. A lot of times, I don't trust them. I don't trust that they're going to stay in their lane, but thankfully as a motorcycle, we have multiple lanes within our lane. So in this situation, I would definitely be looking for an escape path or just letting the person go, no biggie, and I'll go ahead and get behind them. I don't like to gun it myself to get in front, especially on a turn like that, because we did witness what just happened where you accelerate while trying to turn, you could fishtail. So what I like to do is just let this person go, not worry about it, go on with my day. But that's not what happened here, mainly just because, why should I have to do that? I shouldn't have to do that. This is why you guys should probably start doing that. This vehicle should have been going into the first available lane. This motorcyclist should be going in their available lane. And that's not what happened here. So this car driver went super wide and it pushed the motorcyclist out of the way. Now, if you take a look, we still got some good room. So remember that. We need to be focused on our escape paths and where we can go just in case something like this happens. But here's the big problem was we're focused on the car driver, target fixation. It could have been anything that could have caused him, I'm not even gonna say ego, but basically not paying attention to what's in front of us is gonna be the problem here. And there's the curb. So we weren't paying attention to what was in front of us, where we're going in a path of travel. So right here, this is gonna be a path of travel violation of the sidewalk. The sidewalk jumped out of nowhere to get us, right? No, not necessarily. We put ourselves in a very bad path of travel, and it just so happens that there was a sidewalk. It could have been a cliff. It could have been a fence. It could have been whatever. But why did this happen? How did this happen? Well, if we go back just a little bit, it's because we're staring at this car in the middle of a turn. Remember, guys, we're in the middle of a turn. We need to focus on where we're at. We're not going straight. the road is going to end because we're turning. So focus on what's ahead of you. And once you figured that out, once you know where your path of travel is going and it's going to be clear, that's when you can start scanning. Okay, I only do head checks when I know nothing's in front of me. I only check my mirrors when I've already checked in front of me. I'm not moving my head or my vision because guess what? I'm traveling pretty fast, feet per second, depending on miles per hour. And I don't want to hit anything. And the only way that's going to happen is if I'm paying attention to what's in front. So whenever you guys are riding or going through turns, going straight, whatever it is, make sure you look where you want to go. You've heard of that in class. You've heard of that anywhere you want to go. Pretty simple. Look where you want to go. This was a simple mistake, though, not paying attention to what we're supposed to be doing. Thankfully, it was only 22, I'm going to say miles per hour. Probably not. It's probably kilometers. Anyways, it's going to be a very low speed. And since this was a simple mistake onto a curb, hopefully we're not going to be too injured. Now, he does look like he has full gear, so thankfully that's going to mitigate as many injuries as possible. And then if he has gear for his bike, like crash guards, sliders, anything like that, bendable levers even, it's going to protect the bike from any permanent damage. Might have to just replace a few things, nothing crazy. Pick it up. Go ahead and on with your day if you can. If not, make sure you get it towed home and don't try to ride home with a damaged bike, okay? But real quick, guys, I just want to say thank you so much to the DDFM crew and everybody here. You've been super supportive. My dog is doing a lot better right now. We're monitoring her diet. We're monitoring everything, but it was an emergency situation. She had to go to the hospital. It's not cheap, but I'm super happy that she's here, and your guys are amazing. Your words of encouragement, support on the Discord, on YouTube. It blows my mind, and it's one of the few times where I needed the crew to help me out, and you guys stepped up to the plate and really did a huge job. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. With that said, I hope you guys ride safe, be safe, and I'll be seeing you on the live streams.